Some aspects of it has changed, like cars modernized for the times. The old chains are now less visible, fitted by the media and schools and laws. The plantations are called plants or factories or whatever they call them, mirage, squalid, money-making machines in which the rulers exploit black people and the whole working class. The Klan is now the police with blue uniforms replacing the sheets and hoods. The corrupt racist judges are petty Klan administrators. The cliques of the bourgeois states claving. Their courts, the midnight torch burning torture sessions before the next stretching and the black corpse burning. Black churches are still being burned by the sons and daughters of the Confederacy. The house nigger likewise returned. Psychotic prostitutes, affluent spook traders, crouching in the media, touting the glories of slavery and even fancying themselves hanging judges. Big butt kisses like Tom Ass Clarence selling the whole people into neo-fascist bondage. No wonder they identify with those African kings and queens who sold black people to the slave traders. The only difference between the Nazi killers of Bird and Jasper, Texas, and the Amadou Diallo death squad is that Cesar Giuliani killers are government murderers. Killer cops with uniforms who murder under Caesar's protection. Cesar Giuliani and his killers are above the law, refusing to report to the people. The assassins are still at their old jobs. One killer cop boss has another murder of a black Brooklyn youth, whom he shot in the genitals and let bleed to death, while calling him the usual niggas. Giuliani is a corporate government trial balloon for the U.S. fascism in the biggest, supposedly most sophisticated U.S. city with a great number of minorities. If you get away with this, and all the bloody context and the hundreds of reassertions of the historic U.S. racism and black national oppression, lynch law and lynching old style will re-become the norm. Now, all of whom, for those who might not yet understand that the state, i.e. government bureaucracy, the courts, judges, police, armies, jails, etc., is simply an instrument used by one class against another. That's why the revolutionaries understand the fundamental question of revolution is the taking of state power. And once in power, the people can use this instrument as a weapon to put the major industries, banks, transportation, communication under democratic public control and repress the present ruling class so that the people's democracy can emerge. The present period of resurgence of lynching and lynch law are a parallel concomitant feature, indicating that the present crisis of imperialism, which has spawned the campaign by the rulers to roll back the democratic reforms gained by the people's struggle in the turbulent 60s, to reinstall what the boys call the Sisyphus syndrome, whereby the rulers roll the rock of reforms gained by the people's struggle back down the mountain of democracy and self-determination once a period of militancy subsides. Now, fascism, to paraphrase George Dimitrov, is the rule by terror by the most imperialist, chauvinist sector of finance capital. That is what I call do what I say is. No voting, not even the mainly artificial trappings of democracy. Just the people must do what their rulers say or suffer the consequences. The U.S. has never been a democracy. The boys told us that a long time ago. How can a country where one sector of the population has been subjected to a near genocidal historic extermination by the hands of white supremacist settler colonialism, i.e. the native people, another sector, the Afro-American people, brought to the bottom of slave ships and made chattel slaves, and then as now, confined and repressed under a continuous national oppression, the Chicano or Mexican people, victims of armed annexation of all of northern Mexico by U.S. imperialism in 1845. Remember the Alamo! Indeed, they made second-class citizens throughout the stolen land where they were once citizens. So, that imperialism, settler colonialism, chattel slavery has always disqualified the U.S. as a democracy of any kind. And add that to the fundamental economic exploitation of the whole U.S. multinational working class, which visited upon them by the very structure of the U.S. state. Today, we are seeing the squeezing and forced impotence of a single nation-based monopoly and the emergence to world domination, clearly of the multinational corporate cartel structures who operate openly in the extranational non-governmental structures, World Bank, IMF, etc., etc., etc. They still rely on governments to clear the way for some of their pillage. But they have become so powerful that they're not even restricted by the government as before. Mumia is being held hostage like the Nazis seizing resistant partisans to make reprisal for the people's resistance. The corporate government wants to murder Mumia as a reprisal for his being part of the revolutionary democratic struggle since childhood. The rulers want to show us what will happen if we mobilize a full-scale attack on imperialism as Mumia did as part of the Black Panther Party, as a sector of the Black Liberation Movement, in the multinational anti-imperialist United Front, which assaulted Black national oppression, racism, and monopoly, and capitalism and imperialism. What's critical now is that the revolutionaries unite with the workers of all nationalities, the oppressed people of the nations, and an international united front against imperialism. Marxists-Leninists unite around the practice and theory of Marxist-Lenin-Mao. Build the revolutionary party of the proletariat and win the advance to communism. The struggle to free Mumia today is one of the most important aspects of the revolutionary democratic struggle. It must also serve to begin the unifying of revolutionaries and building of a conscious multinational anti-imperialist united front right here in the belly of the beast.